Hi, in this video, you will learn how to make kids feel safe talking with you. You will also learn why kids are afraid to talk about their feelings and the number one mistakes parents make when talking to kids. Hi, I'm May Seifan, licensed marriage and family therapist, here to help you raise pro-social, resilient, competent, and confident children in this digital world. I have over 22 years of providing professional counseling services to hundreds of my patients. If you're here and you're new, click the subscribe button below so you don't miss my future videos. So, how do you make kids feel safe talking with you? As a parent, I know that children will experience fear, sadness, and anger, but many parents don't know how to respond to children with these emotions. However, parents, if you understand how the power of emotions work and remember to do just a few things, you will know how to make your child feel safe talking with you. I will provide some case examples along with tips on which behaviors to avoid that push children away and what you can do to draw them to you. Before I start, I want to hear from you in the comments below. What is your number one challenge when talking with children? Let's get started. Emotions are so powerful. They are responsible for helping us remember what happens in our lives and create memories for us. Emotions help us make emotional connections and file them in our long-term memories. When we experience emotions like happiness, fear, sadness, or anger, those are a surge in emotions. Let's think of them as a heart monitoring machine that record or display our heartbeat. When there is a spike in our heart activity that is too high or maybe too low, it alerts the doctors and they'll rush in to take care of you. That spike in the heart activity is then noted in your medical record, so it's not forgotten. In the same way, emotions do that in our brain. They'll take note of it and file them away in your long-term memory. Let's see if you remember some of those things in your life that involve emotions. Do you remember your wedding day? How about when you first found out that you were pregnant? Do you remember being embarrassed, maybe doing a speech or something, you just froze? Do you remember the verbal or physical fights that you had with your sibling or with a friend or a fellow student? How about surprise parties that your family or friends threw for you? You see, these events are remembered because you had an experience that heightened your emotions. Now let's see how children experience emotions with you and the number one mistake that parents often make that causes children to feel unsafe to talk with them. Now picture a 6-year-old boy who wakes up kind of frowning and he begins to cry because he napped too long and he missed his favorite TV show. If you are a parent who is uncomfortable with those negative emotions, you may respond with something to this effect. You may say something like, "It's just a TV show. You don't need to cry. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about and you won't get to watch TV tomorrow." This is the number one mistake parents make when talking to kids. What happened here? The father's angry response to his son's sadness made him feel afraid and misunderstood. He may come to believe that he's done something wrong for crying, and feeling sadness is certainly not allowed around his father. He is also afraid that he would be punished for crying and not get to watch TV. This father's dismissive and disapproving response made him feel unsafe. Together, the parent and the child both had an emotional connection, but this connection caused a repelling effect for this child. This child is now fearful of his father because of his response and will think twice about going to his father or an adult when feeling negative emotions. So let's remember, a response that creates fear will move your child away from you. Now, let's see what you can do to make your child feel safe and create a connection that moves them toward you. And stay until the end because I will tell you how you can get a copy of the tips that I recommend so you can successfully apply this into your life. Now, picture the same scenario with a child waking up and beginning to cry, but his father responds saying something with empathy in his voice. You're really sad you missed your favorite TV show. I'm sorry. And perhaps he'll hug him. It's okay, son. Let's see if we can figure out how you can wake up earlier next time so you can watch a show. Would you like that? What happened here? In this example, the father met his son's emotions of sadness with empathy, love, and kindness. The child felt understood. He felt safe and comforted by his father. Together, the father and son had an emotional connection that made him feel safe. He will file this in his brain as an experience that made him feel safe with his father. In the future, he is likely to go to his father with his sadness or any other emotional upset. Remember, loving responses create a connection that moves your child toward you. So in conclusion, what are the things you need to remember and do differently when your child is upset? First, remember, emotions are not dangerous and they do not define who you are as a parent or what your child will become. Remember that it is normal for your child to have emotions. Their emotions will come and go away. Second, remember, emotions tell us, they tell your children that something is not right and that we need to make changes so we can feel better. Third, let your child experience their emotions by communicating with empathy and acceptance for what they're going through. Do not shame or blame them. Shame does not motivate your children, but may cause more problems instead. Fourth, be curious and ask what your child needs and brainstorm possible solutions to remedy the problem. Try the solution and then make a judgment on how it worked and continue to make adjustments until it works better for your child. Fifth, remember what works for you as an adult doesn't necessarily work for your children, and what works for one child may not work for your other child. Lastly, remember you have the power to influence your child to feel safe with you. You may either respond in a way that creates fear, which will turn them away from you, or make them feel safe by responding in a way which will draw them to you. So there you have it. The tips to help make your kids feel safe talking with you. Always remember, your child is learning about God through you. When you respond with loving kindness, they get a glimpse of God's perfect love for them. 1 John 4:18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love." Okay, click the link for the tips I mentioned and do click subscribe for future videos. Remember, you can make loving connections that draw them to you. With some practice, together you and your child can make today a better day than yesterday.